This is the tale of two tomatoes, told in two chapters. The first chapter was the industrial tomato, the tomato you know. The second is the tomato you grow, where your farm is within an arm's reach.
So growing your own food, whether it's at home, at school, in a community garden, is a great way to make sure you know exactly where your food comes from and it has a really low carbon footprint. There's no substitute for growing food locally. It's going to be as fresh as possible, it's going to be delicious. You can't beat it.
Check out this school garden's variety. This redefines what farm fresh means.
Tomatoes are one great example of produce that's way, way better when you get it locally. So if you think of a fast food tomato or a supermarket tomato, it's kind of sort of pinkish, it's pretty hard, it doesn't have a lot of flavor, and you might think that tomatoes aren't that good. Then you go out and you discover all the different local varieties of tomatoes, and even just your plain normal red tomato. When you grow it on the vine, you harvest it in your own garden, it's an amazing experience.
When you're eating locally, you're also eating seasonally.
Eating seasonally means trying to get food that's in season, it's at its best right now in the area near where you live. So for example, in DC, that means eating tomatoes in the summer when the local farms have really good tomatoes as opposed to eating more of them in the winter. And that's because the tomatoes being shipped here in the winter are coming from farther away, and they're often coming from greenhouses. And again, those take a ton of heat and a ton of greenhouse gases to produce them. So by trying to choose foods that are in season where you live, you can avoid both long distance and production emissions. You also can get the best produce available.
When you eat in season, you're in sync with our planet, and it needs all the help it can get.
So what we eat has an amazing impact on the planet. Agriculture is the single largest human land use on the planet. So if you count all the areas that we've cleared, we've deforested, is mostly for agriculture. Secondly, in terms of carbon footprint, agriculture is about 20% of global carbon dioxide emission. Also in terms of water, depending on how you count it, between 70 and 92% of all the water we use goes into making the food we eat and the clothes we wear.
Students at Eastern Senior High School know this and put their tomatoes where the customers' mouths are. They grow, market, and manage their own community-supported agriculture, or CSA. They call their company Mighty Greens, and they sell vegetables, herbs, even bath products. No train from California, boat from Mexico, or even a truck from a local farm here. Their customers are their teachers, so most of their produce travels less than 15 miles, sometimes on the subway.
Yeah. I'm there.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So by growing your own food or by buying locally from a producer you know, or that you know how it was produced, you're voting for a different kind of production system. You're saying, I want a tomato that's grown seasonally, with less toxic pesticides, less fertilizer, and that's really delicious.
And as much as we love pizza, pasta, and the raw stuff, tomatoes are just a slice of our diet.
It's also important to think about the broader impact that our food has and how we make choices that can impact the environment through what we eat every day at every meal. Starting small can still have a big impact, and we can't always grow everything we eat, but if you can try to make choices that limit your carbon footprint, that'll be a huge difference. And whether it's growing some of our own food and just thinking about food and where it came from at the grocery store, we can still have a big impact. And the important thing is not to be overwhelmed and worry about trying to be perfect all the time, but just taking little steps that can make a big difference.
What a mighty difference a small garden in Washington, D.C. makes. And they're not alone. Gardens big and small across the country are bringing the farm home, growing healthy food within an arm's reach. And it all starts with making the tomato you know, the tomato you grow.